America's financial system desperately needs cash. The oil-rich Muslim world has it. But more and more of that cash is coming with strings attached. It must be invested according to Islamic Sharia law. It's called Sharia-compliant finance. Sharia is best known in the West for the punishments it requires, including stoning for adultery, amputation for theft, and death to those who leave Islam. Sharia finance claims to prohibit profit from interest or risk, or from forbidden items such as pork or alcohol. If Sharia-compliant finance was simply another way for Muslims to invest their money, that would be one thing. But critics say it's way more than that.
But Sharia finance is a piece of what I call the stealth jihad. It espouses, it embraces, and it is designed to help advance a program, Sharia, that is seditious, that requires the destruction of our constitutional form of government.
And Frank Gaffney, who heads the Center for Security Policy, says that amounts to treason.
It's about what its proponents have called financial jihad, or jihad with money.
Yet Washington not only allows Sharia finance, the U.S. Treasury promotes it. Last month, the Treasury Department sponsored a seminar called Islamic Finance 101.
But that's a euphemism, because I think when people have learned what Sharia is about, calling it what it is, namely Sharia-compliant finance, is problematic. So you have to come up with euphemisms. Some have called it Islamic finance, or Islamic banking, or structured finance, or ethical finance. In other words, trying to make it sound like it's really just another kind of socially responsible investing.
Many banks, brokerages, and insurers are also trying to lure money from the Middle East by offering Sharia-compliant products. That includes AIG, which went belly up and was taken over by the U.S. government to the tune of $150 billion. And that means our government and all taxpayers now have a stake in Sharia finance. The Dow Jones Islamic Market Index was created for Sharia-compliant portfolios. It's advised by leading Muslim scholars. But earlier this year, one of those advisors, Sheikh Taqi Usmani, was quietly removed from his position after it was learned that he teaches Muslims to engage in aggressive military jihad to establish the supremacy of Islam worldwide. But it's clear that the recent market meltdown in the West has the Muslim world believing that now is its time. Leading Islamic scholar Dr. Yusuf al-Qaradawi said the collapse of the capitalist system based on usury and paper is proof that it is in crisis and shows that the Islamic economic philosophy is holding up. Then he urged Muslims to profit from the crisis to bring about the triumph of the Islamic nation, which holds the spiritual and material resources for victory.
At the conclusion of the recent Hajj in Mecca, the Grand Mufti talked about the failure of capitalism. He said, we've seen the end of communism. We're seeing the failure of capitalism. The answer is Islamic finance. He says Sharia finance.
Marshall Sana, an Islamic expert at Barnabas Fund, says Sharia finance is actually a distortion of Quranic teachings and was not widely practiced by Muslims until the 1960s. He believes it's being promoted now as a financial weapon against the West.
It's war footing, and it's setting up not only a separatism and a segregation, but it's attaching it to Sharia law, which, as we all know, is a supremacist ideology. It has inequality built into it between women and men and Muslims and non-Muslims. If you look at the literature and you look at the internal dialogue and how this has been put, the end is supremacy. The end is controlling the institutions, is setting up an Islamic economy, and the Islamic economy is to be the world economy.
This week, a lawsuit was filed in federal court against the Treasury Department and the Federal Reserve for supporting Sharia in violation of the First Amendment. The suit also seeks to stop any bailout money from going to AIG. Gaffney is outraged that Washington and Wall Street are welcoming Sharia finance.
Today it's happening with the Treasury Department under the Bush administration, to say nothing of what will come under the Obama administration, actively promoting the activity. It's madness. It is reckless. And I think most Americans, if they knew what was going on here, if they knew what was at stake, certainly, would be horrified.